Hey YouTube, I'm about to start recording the show. I'm going to give you a little insight. This is not going to have the effects and stuff because I couldn't figure it out. It's 2:49 in the morning. I couldn't figure it out. So anyway, I'm about to record it the regular way, and if you can go to the actual Stitcher or TuneIn or whatever, and it'll go in a world of namby-pamby Bible studies, and then I'll come in, and then you'll hear what you're about to say in just a second. All of it will be polished on the audio. This is kind of I would be a live feed, but nobody's up at 2:50 in the morning. So anyway, so here it goes. Actually, I messed that up too. I'm very tired. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to hit resume reset, and that will make sense. Okay. Already checked my levels. Welcome to the Heart Versus Podcast, episode 22, the Antichrist. Yes, you are correct. It has been a long time. I do apologize. Those who have been on YouTube, who have commented and asked, it's been a steady stream of people who comment, and in about every couple of weeks or so, something will be said, and I'll comment. Most people are very nice, and very few trolls, but most are very nice and very encouraging. But I bring up the Antichrist, and I will just give you there is a disclaimer that you're probably going to be disappointed with this lesson. Now, what do you mean by disappointed? Well, I'm going to take you to 2 John, and if you read 2 John, 1 John chapter 2, 1 John chapter 2, you're going to be disappointed with what it says about the Antichrist. And actually, that's where it's stated about the Antichrist. What most people want to know about is the man of perdition, which is on my wall over there. I'm not going to show you because I'm knocking my phone off. But in 2 Thessalonians is where that is discussed. And I will do a more thorough, I guess, study of what most people call the Antichrist, which is not the same thing as the man of perdition. So anyway, the Antichrist, what am I talking about? And it would be a very short and simple lesson. Let me just say that I have several books about end-time prophecies, and most of them I disagree with. I've got the Are We Living in the End Times by Tim LaHaye and Jerry B. Jenkins. If you remember, they were the Left Behind, the Kirk Cameron was the pilot, and everybody was raptured up. I've also got here the late great Planet Earth by Hal Lindsey, and it's got somehow in our moving, I ripped the front off of it. We've got let's see, The Triumphant Return of Christ by William J. T. James. I've got The Complete Guide for Prophecy, or Bible Prophecy by Stephen M. Miller, fully illustrated, by the way. But anyway, none of that is going to be in 1 John chapter 2 on the Antichrist. It's very anticlimactic. So let's just get into it. When we look at who the Antichrist is, when he goes 1 John chapter 2 verse 18, it says, "Little children," let me stop. Let me give you the framework to give you who he's talking to. This is John, the Apostle John, the one that also had the Gospel of John. This is the longest living apostle. The rest of them died from very harsh things like beheadings and crucifixion and stuff like that. John is the one that ended up on the Isle of Patmos as an old man, and as far as we know, I think he died of natural causes, old age. And so that's how this 1 John and 2 John, 3 John, even the Gospel of John, some are saying they're late writings. So anyway, 1 John chapter 2 verse 18, little children, he's talking to, like he is a father figure talking to those young Christians. It says, it is the last time. And as you know, okay, it is the last time, and as ye have heard that Antichrist shall come, even now are there many Antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time. All right, now, one of the things, looking back, there's actually, I would say, more Greek scholarly works than I can come out of my head. I know enough Greek to be dangerous. But the phrase where it says the last time, it's translated a last time or a last hour, meaning like it's not it's one of it's the end of a period. It says Westcott makes much of this and writes that the omission of the definite article, quote, seems to mark the general character of the period and not its specific relation to the end. It was a period of crucial change. Now that's quoting Westcott. Also, I've got one from Morris. It says, Morris also stressed the same thing, saying, quote, there is no article with hour. John is not saying it is the last hour, but that it is a last hour. Okay, end quote. And so when we look at digging down to the Greek by people who are more qualified than me, we see that the last time is a last time. It is a period when something has stopped. Well, now, and we know it says it is the last time. So it was occurring then, and they knew it because the Antichrist was coming. These are all present tense. And so the other thing is that it says, and even now are there many Antichrists. And he says, whereby we know that it is the last time. Now, going down to verse 19, notice where they came from. And I want you to just envision, too, who he's talking to. He's talking to a group of Christians at a congregation that he knows. John is, and for those who are watching the video, yes, I use my hands when I talk. I make no apology for that. So if I knock the camera over, I'm sorry. It says, they went out from us. They were originally in the church, but they left. And it says, but they are not of us. For if they had been of us, they would no doubt have continued with us. John is talking to fellow Christians during that time. And so if you want to talk about, the strict definition of who the Antichrist or the Antichrists are, it was those in the church during the time of John. There were those who were causing problems. And there's really a very general definition of who the Antichrist was. It says, but they went out that they might be made manifest that they were not all of us. All right, so they're the Antichrist, they were coming out from the church that John is talking to. Now that would be a church there in the first century. All right, going to verse, 21. Yeah, verse 21 says, I have not written unto you because you know not the truth, but because you know it, and that no lies of the truth. And he's going to refer again. I haven't skipped any verses. We're still in chapter 2. It says in 1 John chapter 2 and verse 22, it says, who is a liar but he that denieth that Jesus is the Christ? He is Antichrist that denieth the Father and the Son. Now let me give you just a little bit of, I've been doing, I study my Bible and I study for sermons. So I can preach, and I've been studying for Proverbs, and I've been studying for Acts here recently because that's what I've been teaching. And the Sunday morning, I've been teaching Acts, and then I'm Proverbs, and then on Wednesday night, I've been teaching Acts. And so, in the studying of that, I've also been studying Marcion, or Martian. I actually saw somebody say, you pronounce it Martian, okay? But it's spelled Marcion. And he was one of the great heretics, one of the first heretics, and his heresy lasted for 4 centuries. And one of the things that Marcion had done is he had determined that Jesus was the new benevolent God that had come from the good benevolent God that was not the Old Testament God. He considered the Old Testament God to be mean and petty, and that there's no way that Jesus could have come from that. And so when John talks about that this Antichrist or denying the Father and the Son, that's exactly what Marcion did. He denied the Father, which was what we refer to as the Creator, and trying to think back how I have to be very careful how we refer, because when you look at it, he said that the Old Testament God, there was a Messiah that was predicted to come even from the Old Testament, but he said Jesus was not that. And Marcion is saying that the Messiah is going to be the one that delivers the Jews. Now, there's a few people that say that today. I don't agree with that. I mean, I like the Jews. That they don't like to bomb us. That's they make good allies. They're part of our culture. I'm happy with them. I have no problem with them. But it's not because of the Bible. One of the things that I see is there is waiting Jesus to come to redeem the Jews. Well, he already has. He came and redeemed the whole world, which would include the Jews. And if you remember, when he was hung on the cross, it said King of the Jews. He was actually King of the Jews. I mean, it's an interesting study. All right, but anyway, who is a liar but he that denieth that Jesus is the Christ? So you can go back to Marcion. Let's see, I believe he was around 140 AD, was around when he had so much influence. And I know you're saying this is after John's writings, but they were contemporary. They talked to the same people, and this group came out of it. I believe the one that Marcion had influence from was a Gnostic by the name of Serta, and this would have been around the time that John would have been writing, I think. Okay, so anyway, he denies that. So we're talking about Gnostic heresies, where people are denying the deity of, number one, that the deity of the Old Testament God, and also I don't say that they didn't deny the deity of him, but they didn't think of him as being the God of Jesus. All right, is that all I have? Let me give you one more verse. No, I won't. Because that's it. That's all I got. But that's all it has to do with the Antichrist. Now, as I said, who you're really probably wanting to hear about is the man of perdition, which is in 2 Thessalonians. And I will cover some of that, and it's a little more in depth. It's not just a little section of scripture in 1 John. Of course, if you have any questions about it, or maybe you say, oh no, I found something else about the Antichrist. Man, put it in the comments. Let me know about it, because I mean, I looked, and I could not find anything else. And according to my studies, it didn't line up with some of these popular beliefs today. It was enlightening. I will say that it was enlightening to actually look at the Bible and see what it says. And this is something that's incredibly useful. If I can't hammer a point more, it is, don't just take people's words for it. Go back and read it for yourself. And that's something that's missing in all these books is they go back to Daniel, and they go back to, mainly Daniel, and they say, hey, there it is, you see it? And then you come to the New Testament, it says, and you see it might be this right here. No, read it for yourself. Take it for what it says. Read it because God wrote it so man could understand it. You don't have to be a genius to understand it. Just read it. Just study it. So anyway, am I missing anything? Nope, that's it. There are no commercials, no sponsors, no silly jokes. Why? Because it's right 3:03 in the morning right now. And so anyway, just let me know. Please subscribe. When I say subscribe, go to iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google Play. Anywhere you can hear podcasts, go ahead and subscribe. It would make me happy. Also, go to YouTube, and I'm going to try to do as many videos. The actual quality is not going to be as good on the audio, but it's fun. I think we have more fun on YouTube than we do on the podcast. There's more interaction. I'm right there. It pops up on my phone when it's you say, hey, have you considered this? And it pops up, and I'll go, no, I haven't. Thank you. Or that happens quite a bit, and I'll stop what I'm doing to do it because I consider y'all as part of a ministry. And that is my full-time job as being a preacher. Also, There are a couple of Bible studies available. The Acts Bible study is on preacherbrian.com. It is not complete. It is up to chapter, I think it's chapter 10. I am not sure. But anyway, there's quite a few. If you wanted to start the study and go through it with your, Sunday morning Bible class or whatever, you can start it. And then, of course, if you get caught up with me, holler at me, because I probably forgot to post it because I'm doing it as we're going through it. Staying a little bit ahead of the group. So it's free. And actually there's very little commentary. It's all questions, and I give you places to look to find the answers. Of course, you get stuck, holler at me. Send me a text. There are 3 levels on any of the Bible studies I do. There's 3 levels. There's the student required section, which is just asking questions from the text. Who, when, what, when, where. And the second part is, I say optional. It's called the Bible Genius level questions, and they require you to do a little research. Many times having to pull some commentaries or some dictionaries down to figure out what we're talking about. And then at the very end before the end is the impossible level questions. And I offered to whoever can answer all the impossible level questions, I said I'd give you a book out of my library. And so unless there's like 1,000 people that start doing that, which there hasn't, I'll honor that. Also, the last part is your Masters of King James English. If you are, like to get the cheap King James book, it's free. I bought a King James book, King James Bible for $1. It's right here. So if you want to use that, I give you the instruments to make the full use of it, to understand what the words are. And that's about it. I'm trying to think of more things to say, but I need to go to bed. And hopefully I'll see you next week. Remember the man of perdition. And I'm out. I'll wave at y'all again. All right, audio went off. Yeah, YouTube, y'all have become kind of special because it's more interactive. Give me a holler. It's like I'll see it within minutes of you posting, and I do listen to what you say. I'll take it to heart, and I look at y'all's stuff. But let me also say, I have not been posting because my wife she was stage 4 cancer, and it was a colon cancer that had spread to her liver. She went and had a part of her colon removed, started taking chemo. They found the spots on her liver. They stopped the chemo. They went in and they did surgery to take the spots out of her liver. That was before Christmas. And then after that surgery, they did a biopsy and they said, all the cancer's dead. So they said that happens in less than 5%. It's been a bad year, but it's looking really well right now. And so that's why I have not been posting. I've been a little busy heading out to Houston, the MD Anderson, and they've been wonderful. We've got 3 more chemo treatments. One this next week. We got one 2 weeks after that, and then the final one will be February 5th. And we're done. So continue to pray for us. Continue to, I didn't realize, you hear about how hard cancer is. It's a different story when you're going through it. And so, but I appreciate all the encouragement and prayers I've heard, and I've been keeping it quiet, but I think we're on the other side of it now. And so, anyway, if y'all have any input or anything, tell me you're praying. That's encouraging too. But anyway, we'll see you next week. Next week there will be one on the man of perdition, and hopefully it will be to everybody's satisfaction. It'll be more exciting, I guarantee you. But anyway, y'all have a good night or good morning, whatever. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye.